Let us relax the body, quiet the mind, turn loose of all the thoughts of the day, bring our full attention to this present moment and this place. Let us lift our thoughts above and beyond the physical into the realms of love and light. And remember that each one here is a part of the contact. You're lending your life force to this circle and reaching upward as the teachers reach down to meet our vibrations and make the contact. Hello, good evening, my beloveds. It is a pleasure to be here with you this evening to see the light of your love that reaches upward to meet our love as we reach down to you. It is with great love that we come to each one of your classes, not just on Wednesday night, but wherever you meet and whenever you meet. Those who are searching for the Father and His love and His truth are reaching out, and this is easily seen from our rounds as we work with you, for those who work with you on this plane. And we lend our love and our spirit to your spirit and help to bring your vibrations up to help you to understand in a more complete sense the real truth that lifts you above and beyond the physical plane of illusion. My subject tonight is oneness. When one feels alone, they are alone, but only in their thoughts. For you can never truly be alone. And as you have migrated down to these lower dimensions, you have incorporated into your thinking and into your language the concept of duality, time and space, and good and evil, and so on. And it is with great difficulty for you to think of yourself as one with God. My dear ones, when you think of yourself as one with God, you are one with all that you experience. For indeed there is nothing in this universe but God. There is no experience that is happening that is not created out of the life force that is God. The life force that you are is God. The chair that you sit upon was created out of the life force that is God. The house that you live in is God. The cars that you drive, and on and on. There is nothing that you experience or see or perceive that is not God. Nothing can be separated from the oneness of life. As you learn to incorporate this into your consciousness and into your understanding, then you will realize that you are never alone, that you can never be alone, I would like to try to help you to understand this in a much greater sense this evening, that you may be much more aware of God's presence within you and all around you at all times. And when you are aware of God's presence and His life force that is everywhere present in all of the universe, in all of creation, when you truly understand this, then you can talk to God at any time. When you talk to the birds, or your pets, or the trees, or the flowers, you are speaking to God. All these things are different manifestations of God. You, as you call yourself human at this point in your consciousness, are different expressions of the one life that is God. And it is good to have the difference. Every one of you are a little different than any other. And this is good. Each pebble on the beach is different. Each flower that blooms, even if it's the same kind of flower, is a little different than the other bloom. And this gives us the variety. Now, when you want to go aside from the world and sit down to be alone, you can do this and turn off the world, as you might say, for a time. But in true reality, you are never alone. There is a saying in your language, I want my own space, or I need my own space. And this means that you want to have this time to be alone with your thoughts and with the God within you, and turn off the illusions of the physical world, and this is good. I want to help you to understand with the greatest love and tenderness that I can muster this evening that God is everywhere present. And through this understanding, you can lift your consciousness to a much higher level by recognizing His presence. Recognizing His presence as your physical body. Recognizing His presence as your mind and your thoughts. Recognizing His presence as the spirit of oneness that you are with Him. And with everyone you meet, when you look into their eyes, you are looking at God. This I have told you before, and you have heard it many times, but I would try to strike it home in your consciousness, in your thoughts this evening to a much greater degree, that you might understand and that you might feel this oneness. You might feel never alone or lonely. This is a part of the illusions of this physical plane, loneliness. So many complain of this thing of being lonely, and it is just because they do not understand that they are never alone. When one isolates themselves from the world through shyness, through bitterness, or whatever, then they do feel the loneliness. They do feel isolated. But they have chosen to do this themselves, for you do create your own reality, as you have heard this expression so many times recently. Remember this, that you create your own reality. And so When you understand that the chair that you sit upon, the furniture in your house, the appliances that you use, is a manifestation of God, and that appliance, that chair, that house that you live in, is just as much alive as you are and your physical body, your mind and your spirit. Now, if we would measure it from your physical plane, we would say, well, it's lower in vibration than your physical body. And this is true, but it is still a manifestation of God. Anything that you experience, the rocks, are a manifestation of God. The sand, the earth itself, is a manifestation of the one life. As you bring this into your conscious awareness and let it seep in to your consciousness as a truth, then you have a wonderful experience of seeing God everywhere you go, feeling God's presence at all times, no matter what other individuals are doing or saying. Look beyond the outer illusion. Look beyond the fears of other people and of yourself, and know that God dwells in all of this. When you see the wars that are going on your planet, when you see the murders, the rapes, and all of this, you judge it and put a label upon it. And it is indeed a departure from the life force going against the grain of life. But it is still a manifestation of the life force that is God. Now let me explain this before you try to cancel it out. God has given each one of you free will, has he not? And there is no individual in this universe, no matter whether it's the greatest saint or the most hardened criminal, that is not God. All are God. And on your physical plane, it is a plane of illusion, just a play on a stage. And so some of you are playing this part and some are playing that part. Some are playing the part of a murderer. Some are playing the part of a rapist. And you label it good and evil. This takes a little while for you to raise your consciousness above this concept of duality and to realize that all is the life force manifesting through your free will that God has given you, and he will not interfere with your free will. Did he interfere with Hitler and all the other dictators? And some are still playing this role in many countries. No. And some wonder why. The reason, my dear ones, is that God loves you with a love so great that it is almost impossible with your human understanding to comprehend it. He loves you with a love so great that he gives you the freedom to go as far as you will in the wrong direction to find your way home. But in true reality, going astray, as you would say, is another path in finding your way home, and it will eventually lead you back to the oneness of God. Why am I going into all of these things? Because I want you to understand and to help you to change your thinking about the separation. There is no separation from the one life, and there never can be. You are not separated from the most hardened criminal. You are one with him, just as you are one with the greatest saint, as you would call him, on this planet. And when you correct your understanding to realize that God is just as much present in the most hardened criminal as he is in the greatest saint, then you understand that this plane is indeed illusion, and it is just a play on a stage, and it is not real, and you need not take it so seriously. And I do not mean to say to sit down and do nothing, but I do mean to help you to understand that you need not be concerned, you need not worry when you release yourself to God. Your mind and its habit patterns, some of them are negative, some of them are positive, some of them are destructive, and some of them are constructive. Even these are the manifestation of God, because God has given you the freedom to think as you will, and you have chosen your reality that you experience. Most here are learning to re-educate your subconscious and your conscious mind to bring about an end to the conflict within yourself, so that you can reach in to the inner part of you that is God without interference from thoughts of fear called worry and doubt and anxiety and so on. So many words that you have are just different words for fear, and there is nothing to fear, my dear ones. When you come to this full realization that you need not fear anything or anyone or any situation, that you are always in the hands of God, that God's love surrounds you and enwraps you and is there to protect you when you will let it at all times. When you come together on these Wednesday nights and we make contact with you from these dimensions, we strive to communicate to you as best we can through this channel with the equipment and the abilities that we can. And I would answer a question that is in some of your minds. Each one of you are a channel and could be sitting in this chair that Donald is sitting in at this moment. And if I were to channel through you as I'm channeling through Donald, it would come out a little different, with different usage of the language, different phrases, but it would still be the same truth, trying to reach the inner part of you that has the understanding of your divinity. Donald sent love to each one of you. He always does, each week, to help you to understand, to help the communication and the words that come through to reach each one of your consciousness and your minds in the special way that makes sense to you, that communicates with you. And your teachers and guides from this side of the realm are here sending love to you also for the same reason. They are lending their life force and their presence to bring up the vibrations so that the communication is here, so that you understand, so that you can raise your consciousness. And when you leave here, you can feel fulfilled. You can feel that you have received something worthwhile for your journey here and feel good about it. This lesson tonight is a difficult one because it does deal with the concept of duality, but it is such an important one. Nothing ever matters in this world, my dear ones, except how you are with God. This I have told you before, and this I may tell you again, but it is true. Nothing matters but how you are with God. And how you perceive the world, how you think about yourself, how you think about life, is how you think about God, and it is how you are with God. And this is why the message tonight of oneness is so important. It is why, if I can communicate to you to realize that God is walking beside you, within you, and all around you, and if you desire to communicate with God, you could talk to your house, you could talk to your chair that you sit in, you could talk to your pets, the trees, and you would be talking to God. Or you could just think the thoughts in your mind and know that God is the life force that you are within you, and know that you are communicating with God. You are never alone. Do not allow this feeling of loneliness. Remember that God is everywhere present, and you are never alone. You need not feel a lack, for God is abundant, everywhere present. His life force is so great that if you had the understanding, you could multiply yourself 100 times, 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times in your money, in your understanding, in any way that you choose, because He is unlimited, and this means that you are without limit. These thoughts that I bring you this evening may be difficult for you to understand and to accept and to comprehend, but I would have you to think about them. I would have you, when you awaken in the morning, greet God with this day and be grateful for His life that He's given you, and be grateful for the love that He has for you. Be grateful for the understanding that you can be a channel for His love to flow through. And talk to God as you go through your day, as you would talk to a close companion, and know that He always hears you. And if you listen, my dear ones, you will hear Him talking to you. You will perceive it. It may not be in a voice like you're hearing just now, but it will be there. It may be just in an impression, but if your mind is open and you desire enough to hear God, He is always speaking to your heart. Other questions that you would have this evening?
You mentioned that any one of us could be sitting where God is sitting and channeling. If we wanted your voice to speak through us, your thoughts to come through us, is there any specific exercise that would help us prepare to receive that other than merely trusting the thoughts that come to us?
And just as I said about God speaking to you, it is just as easy for me to speak through you if you but open your mind and your heart and set aside the little self, that part of you that doubts, that part of you that is afraid, that part of you that talks about problems and so on. When you set this part aside, then I could come through any of you just as easy as I am doing with Donald, and maybe some of you easier. You see, there is no mystery to channeling, or there is no real mystery to life. It is all a truth. And when you understand something, then you do not fear it. When you understand something, the mystery is gone, is it not? When you, and if you decide to allow your teacher to speak through you, and it would be good to start with your individual teacher that is in charge of you, or one who walks the path with you. There are many who are with you most of the time as you go through your days. And if and when you decide to do this, just sit down, relax your body, clear your mind, and say the first thing that comes to you, and let it continue to flow. Do not analyze in any way. Do not consider, am I worthy to do this? Or is this really true? This kind of thinking does shut off the channel, and it closes the channel. For you then, with your little self, have taken over, and we have to let go because God has given you free will, and we cannot interfere with that free will. Those on the very low dimensions will try to interfere with your free will, and sometimes they achieve it and take advantage of people. But we do not do this on the planes of love and light. And so when your doubts or fears or whatever comes in, then we are cut off. It is a matter sometimes of practice. And if you desire to do this, a good exercise would be to turn your tape recorder on, relax your body, and talk into the microphone and just let it flow. When the group that Donald is in, called the Oasis, in Oklahoma, when they first started, they would say a few phrases like God is good, God is kind, God is gentle, God is love, and on, and this primed the pump, you might say, and allowed the teacher, or the one who was working from this side of life, to then jump in, like jumping rope. When you were children, two of you turned the rope and one jumped the rope. But then another child could come along and get with a rhythm and jump the rope with the other, and maybe even three if the rope is long enough. And you see, it is the same thing. When you are relaxed enough in your mind and your body, and you can be at peace about this, then you jump the rope, you get with the rhythm, and you prime the pump if you need to, and just let it flow, and be not concerned about whether it is good or whether it is you, or whether it is Aloha, or your teacher, or anything else, but just let it flow. Then, after you have done this and an end seems to come, then turn your tape recorder off, put the tape aside for at least an hour or maybe the next day. Then listen to the tape, and you will know if it is you or if it came through you from this side of the veil. Does this help your understanding?
Yes, thank you.
There are many ways of doing this. This is one way that might be helpful. Are there other questions?
Tonight, as you started to stand through Donald, I reached what I perceive as my higher self. If you are in contact with my higher self, can you elaborate at all on the answers I received? And is there anything that I should know at this time that they could care for?
You are asking me to read your mind, and is this correct?
No. When I came in tonight, I did have something I've been wondering or worrying about somewhat today. And I reached, and what I perceive as my higher self at the beginning of this. The question that I have is that I am taught that we can create our own, what is the term, our own reality here. And, how can I best do that? One of the things that has always bothered me is perhaps something I started as a child in the Depression when I saw old people that were poor. Now, maybe that is not where that came from, but it's something I've tried to get rid of as far as I'm concerned, trying to get rid of that. Is there any way that I can help do this?
Yes, there is. And the way is always love. And when we say love with a capital L, we are talking about God, are we not? When you accept the abundance of God's love, then there is no lack in any way. You're asking how to create your own reality. Is this true?
Yes.
You continually are creating your reality. And if you wish to create a different reality, then you need to change your thinking and your thinking patterns and your consciousness, just as you were taught in Donald's basic classes. This is not always easy, and there are sometimes deep-seated habit patterns that try to assess themselves when you are trying to be the individual you want to be, and you have to learn that God's love is all-powerful and all-wise, and when you use it enough, and when you let it be incorporated into your consciousness, and when you, as we were talking tonight, feel this oneness with all life, then there is no illusion. The thing that you are speaking about is the conditioning that you have had from the past that causes you to believe in the illusions of this physical plane and how you can rise above it. Is this not true?
Is this the illusion from this lifetime or perhaps the previous lifetime?
It matters not.
Okay.
It's the same life. There truly is just one life, and we think of it as this life and that life. But life is a continuous flow, and we give up a physical body and are manifesting on other dimensions and then take another physical body, but it is still the one life. And you do carry over the habit patterns from lifetime to lifetime, and when they are not corrected in that incarnation. But you have the opportunity now to correct these negative patterns that are, their roots are rooted in fear and illusion. And you can rise above this by allowing God to manifest through you in a much greater way. And as the lesson tonight said, see God everywhere that you look. Look beyond the outer illusion, the outer actions of other people, the things that are going on, and know that God is the life force behind all of this. And when you know that God's love is all-powerful and all-wise, and that through God's love you can rise above this, you can change these negative patterns. You can be your own master, even while you walk this physical plane in this physical body. Does this help your understanding?
Yes.
Yes. Are there other questions this evening?
You mentioned that different people play different roles, the rapist, the murderer. This may present a dilemma if we ask, are those people that are acting out like that to be corrected, or would that be interference? Because the law or individuals may try to stop them.
You have your physical laws to keep those type of people in check when you can. The divine law is that God has given them the freedom to do whatever they will, and he does not interfere. When you are on a certain dimension, you are under the laws of that dimension, in a sense. And so on your dimension, it is against the law to murder or to rape, is it not?
Yes.
And so your authorities take action to incarcerate this individual, to make your society a little safer, as you would think. And so this is correct according to your physical laws. Does this answer your question?
Partially, I wonder if it really matters, because it's still an illusion on the physical, no matter what they do, and on a higher level, perhaps they were meant to carry out their plan.
Well, let's put it another way. As your teacher, Donald, has told you, nothing can happen to you in any way unless you have sown the seeds for it to happen. As a man thinketh, so is he. And when you sow seeds of fear, or in another lifetime, maybe you have raped someone else or murdered someone else, then you see you have sown the seeds for this to happen to you. And it is not a punishment. It is a learning process, because in true reality there is no death. And when you transgress the laws, that the divine laws, then you are accountable. Not, God does not make you accountable, but you are accountable to yourself, and you attract that which you have sown. It's an automatic thing. The law of the universe automatically brings about this situation. And you see, if no one had ever transgressed the law, then there would never be a murderer or a rapist or anything else. Do you understand?
I believe so. There would also not be a victim.
That's correct. There is no victim truly in the true understanding of the truth. You see, victim means that you have been wronged. And when I say that nothing can happen to you unless you have it coming to you, unless you have sown the seeds that brings about this experience, then you see this is not a victim, it is reaping the harvest of whatever you have sown in the past. This victim thing is another part of the duality thinking.
Thank you.
Yes. Are there other questions this evening? It is a beautiful experience to be here with you, to sit in conversation with you from the physical plane. And it is good that you have this circle and this communication, for we on the higher realms who have chosen to work with you on the physical plane, we try to help you in every way possible without interfering with your free will. And when one such as Donald has, with his free will, chosen to be a channel, and you with your free will have chosen to come and listen and to garner the truth from this communication, then it is a beautiful experience to us. For there are so many on your plane who are not interested in their growth at this time, and they are going merrily on their way, creating more karma for themselves, and they will reap it sometime. And when they get back home to these dimensions and see what they have done, they will be very disappointed. You who are striving to grow and to move higher in consciousness attract several entities to you who can help you in the way that you needed help. And I want you to know this and to realize it and to send love to the invisibles around you often through the day, so that if they be of the lower, they'll have to change or leave. But if they are the ones who have come to help you, then you with your free will have opened the door for them to help you, and they can use this substance of God's love to bring about a greater understanding as you move forward step by step toward your goal of reaching this oneness with God. You are one with God now, but reaching it even in thought. Are there other questions this evening?
Yes, I've been going through a lot of trials, tribulations, and exaltations in the last couple months. Could you possibly shine a light on that?
Yes. In other words, you have reached some highs and you have reached some lows.
Right.
And you see, this is another part of the duality concept. And your mind believes that when you reach a high, then you must fall from that high. And this is not true if you have the foundation to hold you up. So much of your conditioning on this plane is involved with punishment and guilt and self-condemnation. And when this has gone through several lifetimes, then it is difficult to get out of this vicious cycle of reaching the heights, but not having the foundation of understanding to hold you up. Whatever it takes for you to build your foundation stronger, to build into your foundation the truth of life, understanding the laws of life, then do this for it, and do not try to reach times, and that his wisdom is there for the taking if you learn to listen. When you do this, just a little each day, then as you think of time, in a year's time, that's 365 days, you have moved forward a lot, and it is yours to hold on and to keep. It is much better to make a small gain each day than to skyrocket and then fall down as far as you went up. And it takes you some time then to get back to where you started from in the first place. Is this not true?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. God bless you. Are there other questions this evening? We hold these moments dear, that we are with you in this way. Your teachers and your guides are especially interested when you come for these sessions of making contact, for great understanding can be gained, and much of it is gained without your conscious awareness. For it is you, when you come to this circle, you are saying, I want to learn, and so you have opened the door, and your teachers and your guides can send love into your minds, into your souls, and this truth that has been brought forth tonight can be incorporated into your consciousness, maybe much more than you think. And then as you move through your days and your weeks, you have it and you move forward. Be grateful that you have this contact. Be grateful that you know that God loves you, and be grateful that you know that God is the life force that you are, and you are never alone. God bless you, my dear ones, and good evening. Shall we hold hands? Let us think of ourselves as coming together in the physical as we have been as spirit. And let this circle be a bright, shining light of God's love. And let it fill this whole room, spread out over the city, and cover this whole planet. Let us see an extra abundance of God's love going to the world leaders, to all those connected with the world leaders, to all the trouble spots in the world, to all those involved in the trouble spots. Let us see God's love going ahead of us, each one into our week, into each day, into our every thought, word, and deed, and know that as we move in from moment to moment, step by step, that God's love is there to greet us, there to help us, as we learn to be open and receptive and see God everywhere present. Thank God. Nice group tonight.
A lot of energy tonight. By the way, for the rest of the group, I remembered where that came from the past life that I last about. I was in a castle or someplace, and I don't know whether it was a castle or a city, but we were under siege, and I was an old man, and I couldn't keep my grandchildren alive because no one had any food. And I'd remembered that from one of the time travel classes, but I forgot that.
Those impressions stay with us, probably for a number of lives.
Talking about emotions.
Yeah, totally clear them up.
Yeah.
Clean them out.
Did any of your students ever try a tape in receiving Ella or Kadan or anything like that?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Usually they don't say anything about it in a group, but many of them are totally individually making contact with their teachers.
Isn't automatic writing an expression of that also?
Yes, it can be. And when you say automatic writing, now that's when someone takes your arm, control of your arm, and writes, and you can be talking to somebody else and not know a thing you've written. And that's the same as the weeping forwarding. I don't recommend it because inspirational writing is much better, I feel, and you have more control. But automatic writing is interesting.
One of the interesting things I picked up tonight was that Ella said that if he came through another individual, that the wording and so forth might be different. Can you elaborate on that somewhat? Would the meaning be exactly the same, or could that be different too?
Well, the meaning would be close to the same anyway, according to that individual's consciousness. Now, when J.Z. Knight and people who allow the entity to take complete control of their body, then it's the entity from the other side's understanding in their words and in their language and whatever. But when it's a partial thing like I do, then they have to use my phraseology and my understanding of the language and so on, because they're working through this human part as well as the higher part. So that it would still be, it's whatever it is trying to get through, the message would be very close to the same, but it would just be different words and expressed differently maybe. They use each individual. For example, Alice at the Oasis was quite a Bible student, and her father was a minister, and she grew up with this, and Ella, when he talks to her, starts off with a phrase, a lot, not always, but a lot of the times, a phrase in the Bible, and one of the disciples said this or that, and then he expounds on it. And several of the others, I've noticed that, they use what they have to work with as they can.
We were talking in class the other night about the movie that just came out, The Last Temptation of Christ. It's amazing.
About the what?
The Last Temptation. Oh, Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I heard about it. It's a real put down. It's kind of a.
You guys.
Oh, I think it's a wonderful movie.
It's not put down at all.
No, it's really lovely.
Love it.
Most of the Orthodox religions that haven't seen it, they're afraid of it, and so they demonstrate against it. This is one of the illusions in part that if someone deviates from their exact thinking a little bit, well, then it's not correct. It's bad, But everyone has a different way of thinking, a different way of understanding. And I've heard some good reports on it about it too.
Mm-hmm.
But most of them were, at first, were negative. And I expect it'll get a good attendance because of all the publicity. When they ban a book, or something like that, why everybody wants to know what that's.
But Jesus Christ was put on this earth, and the perfect man, not for illusions, not for nothing. He was perfect because he was God.
Just as you and I are God. So.
But he was higher than you and I ever be.
No. I don't understand it that way.
You think so?
Didn't he say to his disciples? Didn't he say to his disciples, "Ye shall do the things that I do, and even greater"? Yes.
Yes, but he created everything. We can't.
So do we.
Yes,
we
we cannot create everything.
We create everything in our life as it is.
In our life, yes.
And his understanding was a little bit higher. And how I look at it is we're in kindergarten or the first grade, and maybe he's a PhD. And he's told us through messages, like he's come through and talked to us, just like Elwood did tonight, and he's told us that he's gone through all the experiences that we've gone through. He said if he didn't, he couldn't help us, really. You wouldn't have the understanding. And in one particular message, he said, man has lost the reason for his coming by worshiping the idol, the man Jesus, instead of the ideal, the things that he taught. And he said he came to set a pattern for us to go by. And he doesn't want us to worship him as a god or an idol.
But yet it says in the Bible, you should worship none other than I.
Well, according to the message tonight, there is none other than I. We're all I. Yeah, everyone has their own understanding, and they have to reach their understanding. And one of the things that I say is I hope I don't believe a year from now exactly the same as I believe today. Because if I do, I'm not growing. Not that what I believe today is false, but I hope to have a larger truth than I have today. There are many misconceptions about the Bible and the things that Jesus taught, and that's why that every 2,000 years a new avatar comes to make the corrections and to bring the truth, just as Jesus did, you know.
Why every 2,000 years?
Well, it's around 2,100 and some odd years. It's a new age. It's a different age.
So we're expecting one.
Pardon?
We're expecting one coming around in the next 100 years or something.
Yeah. Buddha was an avatar, and Muhammad, several others, you know, are the different. You know, my mother's a hard-shell Baptist, and she believes that all the people in China and all those are going to hell because they didn't have the opportunity to know about Jesus. Well, Jesus is not the only Christ. There are many Christs, and everyone has the opportunity to, or will have the opportunity, maybe not in this life, some other life. And I believe that everyone will reach Christhood, just as Jesus reached it when he was on the physical. I think he already had that understanding, but he went through and played the role so that we would have a pattern to go by. That's my understanding anyway. What should we call it? The class?
Are we going to get together Sundays?
Well, what do you think? How many wants to get together on Sunday?
We have agreed.
All right, let's wait for a few weeks and we'll set a time. I had a couple of people call about it and were interested. So, yeah. It'll be a drop-in class that you can come or not come, you know. And we'll wing it. Then
We get cleansed.
don't have any structure, same plan, and just let it happen. Those are real good learnings, yeah.
And people,
Richard, and sorry, speak.
I think it's so important.